I'd given up my job working shifts. I was working on a building site, hod carrying. Then I took myself into college during this time and became a bricklayer, so I became skilled. So I built up my confidence, and then suddenly I was able to see that it was possible to stand on a nightclub door just to overcome this fear of confrontation. And also I wanted to see what martial efficacy was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what worked and what didn't. Everyone was saying it's a block and a counter, it's a trap and a counter, it's about the grappling. They all got these ideas, but listen, I was in a fight in a pub when I was 15, and I knew that there wasn't a place for all that. It was like a cartoon fight with clouds and arms and legs coming out. It was sporadic and spontaneous and ferocious, and if you fell on the floor, someone would jump on your head. It wasn't like the stuff I'd seen in the dojo. But when I asked people in the dojo, they didn't seem to be able to give me an answer. And when I said to them, do you feel afraid? They would say no. And I thought, well, maybe it's just me. But of course I realised later, when I worked with veteran doormen, that everybody was afraid. It's just how they managed it. So I got to the top of the pyramid, and I got this fear of confrontation. So I took a job as a nightclub doorman, as you do, to try and overcome my fear of violence.
Most people would not see that act as a higher level of consciousness, Geoff.
No.
But in your mind it was.
Yeah.
But most people would think, why would you put yourself in such a potentially low energy situation of violence and confrontation? This is in Coventry, and if people don't know, probably one of the roughest places in the country.
It was rough, yeah. You could start a fight in an empty room. Because there was energy there.
So what did you learn?
What I'm learning now, at my age now, at 63, was that I didn't know what a lot of my fears were. So when I went onto the door, they were projected in front of me. It was metaphysical.
Okay.
It was the greatest metaphysical experience of my life. So all of the fears I had in me were projected. I could see them queuing up. And each of those fears contained a tincture of light, of consciousness. And when I overcame those fears, I expanded again and expanded again. So the door itself, when I went on the door, I could tell you I learned from John Anderson, or I learned from Colin Maynard, or these different people, but really there was an egregore. There was an overriding spirit, an arcing spirit that said, oh, this is Geoff, and he wants to understand efficacy in martial arts. This is who he is, this is where he is, this is what he's got. He's got enough courage to stand here. So if he's prepared to let go of what he thinks he knows, we'll show him what works. And I learned very, very quickly that the only consistent, effective work in martial arts for real violence was preemption. But to do that, you needed to be able to control the pre-fight energy, fear, control the in-fight, control the post-fight, because there's always a lot of post-fight fear. You had to understand what works and what doesn't work. You had to understand the whole nature of that world. You had to kind of pick it apart. We kind of became like magicians, because you suddenly learned to read the pre-fight signs in people. You could tell when they were going to fight. I could look down the queue and see a guy that was going to start. I could see into the future. I could see a guy that was going to start a fight in an hour's time. So I'd go down the queue and say, you can't come in. Mm-hmm. So I was starting to get a sense of these siddhas, these miracles. So the real environment enabled you to see, but only because I stood there. I couldn't have done that, I couldn't have done that from a classroom. Arjuna Pandava didn't overcome the battle at Kurukshetra and the Bhagavad Gita from a classroom. He overcame the battle in the middle of the battlefield. So I'm in the middle of this door, and I absolutely unequivocally know that blocking and countering, trapping and countering does not work. I'm going to die if I'm not first. And I knew that if I went to the floor, like in a grapple, or grab somebody, that was deadly as well, because you're never dealing with one person, and you always presume that everybody's carrying. So all of these things, it's like I stood on the door and they became obvious. I could just see, I became a seer. So I thought, well, what does work? And then I found that preemption worked, and it worked every time. Then I started to develop a system called a fence, where I would put this invisible force between me and other people. Sometimes I'd put my hands there, and other times, and it would be inoffensive. So if I'm standing in front of you, Brian, if you just jump up, I won't do anything. But so when I was talking to people, I'd just be talking to people like this. So it's pretty empty, isn't it? But if you move forward, See what I mean?
Right.
And then, of course, if I wanted to, I could attack from there. But so it's not offensive in any way. But it's, if you move forward again, it's an absolute barrier.
Right.
You're not going to move anywhere near me. So I've created this fence. Thank you, Brian.
So you prevent something from happening, and you're ready.
But they don't know they're being controlled.
Right. And you're ready to strike first if you need to.
And if I need to strike first,
right.
And then I also, obviously, I learned to understand the adrenals. I could control mine, which meant I could control theirs, so I could use sound, right. Or I could use touch to trigger their adrenaline, switch it on, or I could use calming words to close it down.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's of course been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.